Okay. So yesterday we were discussing about the remaining operators, right? So Nicola, did you get a chance to go through the class?
Yeah, yes, Santosh, I went through half of the class. Like, I'll cover remaining today.
Okay. Okay. Fine. So yeah. So just give me a second. Yeah. So next we are going to discuss few concepts. So one is today we are going to discuss module. Okay. So module we are going to see briefly, but anyhow we have a separate class for module packages, libraries, etc. But see, when coming to module in Python, module is nothing but a collection of, you will have functions, variables, classes, etc. Because in the first class I have mentioned that one of the uniqueness of Python, okay, one of the uniqueness of Python and why Python is so easy to use is because many a times you don't need to write the code right from scratch. Okay, so that means what, most of the time, most of the time the required code is already written. Okay, so required code is already written and you just need to use it. So for example, as I told you, so we have something called as scikit-learn for machine learning, right? So almost all the required functions, okay, and variables, classes that are already built and kept in this module scikit-learn, you just need to import and use that. Okay, you don't need to build it from scratch again. Similarly, okay, similarly in the first basic example, so and these are called modules. Okay, so for different purposes you have different modules, right? So you just need to understand how you can import and what all you can use from inside that. Okay, you will see, you will understand with an example. For example, you have a module called as math. Okay, you have a module called as math. Okay, so this math will have all maths related functions and variables. Okay, for example, if you see, let's show an example. Yeah, so here I am just importing math. Okay, so when you do import math, that's enough. That means all the functions that are inside math can be used. Now what does math have inside? So when you do, so when you do math dot and when you give tab, okay, so wait, you first you need to import math. After that, just use the same name and just give dot and press tab. Okay, then it is showing all these are all the functions inside this module which you can use. Okay, you can see there are like so many functions which are already, the logic is written. You don't need to write them again, you just need to use them. Okay, for example, I'm using the square root. Okay, so math dot square root. So if you know the function, you can directly write. You can just say math dot sqrt. Okay, square root of, let's say, some 25, right? You got 5.0. Okay, so that means that to find out the square root of a number, so that logic, otherwise you can also do, you can also write some logic. But as I said, like so much work which we need to do or is already done. Okay, and that is kept in different modules. So the function that is required to find out the square root of a given number is, you can import it from math dot sqrt. Okay, so and for example you have math dot pi. Okay, to know the value of pi you will have math dot pi. Okay, yeah. So another thing is, you instead of using this name, if you want to use another name, you can import it this way: import math, okay, as m. Okay, you don't want to use math, so you are using another name for math, that is m. Import math as m. So once you do that, right, once you do that, all the required functions of math are now present in this m. Okay, so you need to use now m. Now if you do m dot sqrt of 25, you will get the 5. Okay, but if now math will not work. Okay, but since we already use this math, right, so since we already imported math as simply math, so already it is there in the python interpreter. But if for the first time, if we are using this way, okay, for the first time you are using import math as m, so only m will work. It will not understand what is math. Okay, because this is called aliasing. Okay, this is alias name. Okay, alias name. So always remember, you can directly use the, see, if there is a module name, okay, if you are importing it as math, if you are importing it as math, then you should always continue using it as math dot pi, math dot square root, math dot tan theta, sin theta, anything. You should use this whatever you have imported. But you can also use alias name, like then you are giving import math as some name. So this alias name you can give anything. Okay, anything you can give, no restrictions. Usually for simplicity, if I give m, then you should now use only this m. That means m dot square root pi tan theta sin theta what all. Then system will not understand what is math, because you are importing math as m. Then system will only understand what is m. All the required functions of math, all these are now present in m, so you should use only m. Okay, is this clear, guys? Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so one famous importing is, you might have seen, we'll always import pandas as pd. So this is one of the famous imports what we'll do, and also mostly we'll import numpy as np. Okay, so as I said, there is no restriction to give pd always. Okay, first of all, why we are doing this, because when you are writing a code, you might use pandas like 50 times. Okay, you might use 50 times. So instead of writing each time pandas dot this function, pandas dot function 2, pandas dot function 3, so it is a bit tiresome, right? So just to save some time and energy, we are just putting all its power into one more variable name. Okay, that is pd. So that's why we will take it small letter pd. So instead of writing pandas, you can simply write pd dot function, something like that. Okay, but as I said, there is no rule that you should only give pd. You can give anything. Even if you can give cat, dog, this, that, anything you can give, that's no problem, it will work. But it is highly recommended and it is highly followed that we always use some standards. So if it is pandas, we go for only pd, because if someone is studying, the third person is going through your code, he will immediately understand that when he sees pd, it is pandas, because it is the standard alias name which we follow. Okay, similarly for numpy, we give as np. From next time, we should use np dot this that. Okay. And there is also another way. For example, okay, so this will come later. Now, as I said, we are having, see, we are having math module. Inside that, there are so many functions, okay, methods. Square root you will have factorial. As you have seen, you have pi. Okay, you have all this. There are two ways how you can use, for example, square root, one particular function inside that. You can import math, and from that you can use this, like how you are doing. You are just importing math. From that, you are again using math dot square root, or you can directly import math dot square root itself. Okay, that is also possible. So you can directly, then how you are going to do, then you are saying you want one function from this math module, right? So then you are saying from, okay, from math I want to import, for example, square root. Okay, I want to import square root. Now once you do that, what will be imported? Can you guess, will the whole math will be imported or only the square root will be imported?
Only square.
Correct. So when you are importing this way, only square root is importing because you are explicitly picking only one function inside that. Okay. So now you have square root. You get square root. So you can directly use the square root function. Okay. See. Now it will not require any aliasing, or it is not requiring any math functions. Okay. So as you can see, yeah. So let me put this, so it will be, yeah. So see, first step is import direct math. Okay, that means when you do this, all the functions inside the math will be imported. Like if you have 100, it is importing the complete library. Okay, complete module, it is importing the complete module. So all the 100 functions or methods inside this will be imported, and you can use any one of them by using the dot extension. So you can do math dot in the place of square root. You can use any of these 100, it will work. That is possible. Okay, that is first way. Second way is just aliasing. Everything is same, but instead of using the math name, you can just alias a small name. So instead of math, give it as m, and from next time you are going to use m. Okay, and but the functionality remains same. Now you will do m dot, give any of the 100 functions, it will work. Okay, so this is second. Now coming to third, so instead of, because let's say your purpose, your requirement is only to use square root. Okay, your requirement is just to use square root function from this math module. You don't want any other function, all the 99 functions you don't want. Okay, then why unnecessarily import and put burden on, let's say, RAM or memory or anywhere. Okay, so in that case, if you know that specific function inside that module to import, you can directly import from. Okay, then you need to use from math import square root. So what exactly you are importing is only square root. Okay, that's why you are importing only square root, but from math. Okay, this should be the syntax. Okay, from math import square root. In this case, when you do this, you will be able to use only square root. Okay, you will be able to use only square root. And the way how you can use it, you can directly use it. You don't need to You can use, don't no need to use any dot extensions, because you're directly getting what is required. You are directly getting it from square root. Okay, so you can directly put it square root and you can use the given value. Okay, is this clear, guys? Did you get some idea like how you can import and use modules? Uh, Let me know if there are any doubts, but I don't think it's there are like different ways how you can import modules, and same rules will apply for any other modules. So you will see a lot of modules in the course. So I hope that is clear. Okay. Now, just to give you tell you like some of the, yeah. So there are like different types of modules. So as I said, you will have in math, you will have seal, you will have floor. Okay, you will have, yes, Sirisha. Yes, yes, Sirisha. You're saying something, or you can put in the chat.
Ye- No, sir, nothing.
Okay. So the like as I said, like there are different, and you'll have factorial. Okay, they are like different. For example, if you see, if you have math dot c of 5.7, so you are getting 6. Okay, and but the math dot floor you will get 5, because the other day, if you remember, somewhere I was discussing this, right? So this will be floor. Okay, let's say you are in a room, so this is floor, which will be at the bottom, and this is the ceiling. Okay, top, ceiling fan, ceiling. Okay, so now let's say you are giving some number 5.7, so that number will be in the middle. Okay, now if you give seal, that means the next number, above number. So it will take the above number to this number, nearest integer after this number. So it is 6, right? So you got 6. But if you do floor, that means below. Floor will be below us, right? So it's the bottom number. So next lesser number, integer, then is number. So you will have the nearest lesser integer is 5. Okay. So this is 5. So ceiling will be the nearest next integer. Floor will be nearest lesser lower integer. Okay, so like that you can use, but these both are available inside the math module. So you need to do math.c, and to use math, first you should import math. Okay, import math. Fine. So similarly you have yeah, similarly you have, let's say, math dot power. Okay, some 2 comma 3. Okay, that means 2 to 2 raised to the power of 3. That means 2 into 2 into 2, 2 to the 4, 4 to the 8. Okay, 2 power 3. And if you say math dot facto, math dot factorial of 5. Okay, so it's 120. How you know factorial, right? 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Starting from 5, you should multiply till 1. So if you do all this, you will get 120. Okay, so the same factorial also, you can simply write a loop. You can simply write a if logic, and constantly come back and multiply each one of these. Instead of doing that, you can directly simply use one single word factorial and give any number you want here. It is going to give you the its factorial value. Okay, so that's the the example over here. And if I just want to, if you see a small program, okay, let's say you want to write a Python program to find area of circle. Okay, just to, our aim is to write a Python program to find the area of a circle. Now what is area of circle? Anybody remember formula from your school max? Area of circle.
Yeah, I I guess it is R only, right?
Bias.
Pi
Bias.
R square.
మమ్మీ సౌండ్ తగ్గి అమ్మ క్లాస్ వింటున్నా.
Yeah, Santosh, it's pi R square.
Okay, so the area is it is pi into r pi r square. Okay, so now that is a pi area, that's a formula, right? So now if you simply what you can do, I am saying r, you can take it from input. Okay, r you can take it from input. You can say enter the value of r, that means radius. Okay, and after that always remember you need to put it into int. Okay, or you can also put it as float, because they can use float also, right? They can do any value. Okay, so this will give you the r. After that, now area is, we want pi. From where you are getting to pi? You will get it from the math module, right? So for that, what you need to do, there are three ways, as I said, right? So import math, and then you can use math.py, or you can directly use import math, sorry, or you can do from math import pi. You can take only that one. Okay, but usually, right, it is suggested to import the module. So usually we import the module, because we don't know, in case if you want to use some more other function in that, right? So we need to again go and change that line, or add a new line. So if you want to use 5 functions from math, okay, it will not make sense to write from math import square root, from math import pi, from math import factorial, like that. Writing is little lengthy, and it is not like, it's not Pythonic, right? So for that, mostly in practical scenarios also, we will import the module. Okay, so import math we will do. Okay, from that, now what we can do, math.py. Okay, math.py is the pi. This will give you the pi value. For this, we are going to multiply with r and r, that is r square. Okay, now we are printing the area of circle with given radius is, just give comma, and you can print area. Yeah, the area of, yes. So as you can see, first let's see, so it's simply math.py r square. So in this math, from this math.py, it will import, yeah, so this math.py, when it sees that, it will just trigger, it will just connect to this math module, and from that it will import pi and replace that value of pi over here. So this will become 3.14, and to that r and r, from where you are getting r, you are getting it from the input. So when it is asking for enter a value, so this input it is entering. Okay, step by step, if you understand this, it is asking us, we have entered 7.8. So in this place of input, now we will have 7.8. But what we are doing float. That means we are doing typecasting, right? So if you don't do this, that will be considered as a string, okay? And you cannot convert, uh, yeah, you can convert, you can use the string, but once you come over here and if you try to do some multiplications, it will give you the error, okay? So that's the reason you are trying to typecast it by using float, and now the 7.8 will be considered as float. And once you come here, then it is calculating this area. So math.py r into r, 7.8 into 7.8, and this math.py, it is calculating the value. And now when you are printing the area of circle with given radius is, okay, it's the same value over here, and in the place of area you are putting this, because as I said, you are having a comma over here, right? So this comma is the, till here it will print as such whatever you are giving the string, but when after comma whatever you are having, that is a variable, and from where it is getting this value of this area, it is getting from line number 2, okay? That it will put over here directly, okay? This is the line by line explanation, but main thing you need to understand from here is how you are importing the, how you are just importing and using a particular function from math module and like solving this problem, okay? So you just import math and math.py, okay? So I hope we understood that. Fine. So after that, right? So we are having, we are going to see few things about the basic input functions. Okay. So basic inputs. I think you are already familiar with like what all input, like how you can, as you can simply see here, you are using input many times. Okay. But let's see a few examples, okay, and we will go to the next topic, okay? But for example, as I said you, as I told you, so you can, that like yeah, you might want to knowing. So for example, you can do it the other way around also. You can say input, enter a number, you can do, and after that you can do x equal to int of x, okay? So this also you can do. So now if you print x and type of x, you will have int. Okay, so you can do it in two ways. So input, first you can take the input which is in the string format, then you can do the aliasing, or the best way is you put this int here, like how you are putting float, you can directly use it in the same step. So that you can think of like different functions over here. Okay, so I suggest you to solve, if you just, as I said, those examples like W3 resources and one more website I've given, right? So you can try to solve at least few functions, like 5 to 10 functions on the concepts which I've discussed. So you can follow W3 resources alone. That is also great, right? So you can try to solve like 10 problems on the module, how you can import 10 problems on the input functions, like that. So that will be helpful. Okay, so now using input, right? So you can write different small functions. So you can take two numbers, add those two numbers and print the output. Okay, so I'm not writing that because it is, I think it should be very simple. X you will take a number, Y you will take a number, just like how you're printing area. So here you can just add a variable called as add, and just you will do X plus Y, and you are going to print some statement. You will print the sum of two numbers, just like how you're printing the area of given circle. You will put a comma and you will put the add. This add is a variable you're getting. Okay, so that's the one we have. And also if you, but sometimes the way how you are asking the question, okay, based upon that, you need to do the typecasting. Okay, that means how you are trying to convert the input. Okay, for example, if you see a simple example, right? So let's say let's take a small example, okay? Small programming language. Now uh, first thing is you are taking uh, a student. Okay, a student number I want to check. Okay, so when you put input first, okay, let me take input directly. Okay, input of enter the student number. Okay, enter the student number. Now I am putting that into a variable called as student number. Okay, this is fine. Now after that, let's say student name, same thing. Okay, and let's say student score. Okay, which is percentage. Okay, and let's say his students marital status. Okay, okay, so let's say these are the details we are having. Now this is simple. There is no difficult to understand, but the way how you need, how you want to do the typecasting will change here. So what will be the student number? Student number will be which data type? Can we have it int or do we need a float over here?
Integer.
Hmm? Sorry.
This one.
Int is enough, right? Int.
Correct. So number will be int. Int should be good because we'll not have roll numbers as 30.5, 36.8, right? So int should be good. Coming to name, what shall we put here? What type of typecasting we need to do? Or is there any need to do to the typecasting? It's not mandatory, right? Always.
Yeah, we can leave it like that because it's alphabetic, right?
Correct. It will be string. By default, it will be string, and student name will be string. Okay. So it's not always mandatory to do typecasting. So if it is the required value is in the string format, so that's fine. Now coming to score. So for score, what one can we put here?
Float.
Yeah, float should be good. Yes. So now for marital status.
We can leave it as is.
Uh, okay, but if I
Or
but I will ask here like this.
true or false. Okay. Boolean.
Correct. Okay. So yeah, I will ask this guy to enter either true or false. So in that case, we need to typecast it as Boolean. Okay. So now this should be good. So now if I enter, so it's asking me to enter a student number. Okay. Let's say some 100 and student name. Okay. I'll say Chandrayan. Okay. And student score 99.9. That is a float. And it's married boolean, so I will say it is false. Okay. Now, okay. Oh, we can print this also. Okay. So we can also, once we do that, so what we can do here is print student number, the same thing. So here you need to give this, you need to give these variables over here because what we are printing, the print statement is very simple and important. So you should understand what you're printing. I'm print first in the string, you write everything what you want to print. Okay, I want to print what I want to print. I want to print student name, etc. But what is a variable you want? What student name, this value, this answer is present in which variable? This variable s name. Okay, so you can put here s name. And after that, what you want to print? I want to print student score, and it is present in it in which variable? This variable s score. Okay, similarly you have the status that is present in this way. Okay, so now if I enter the same thing, let's say student number 100 and some 98.2, oh sorry, student name is, student score is 98.2. Okay, and if the marital status is false, see, it is printing you the same thing. Okay, now I have a question. So if I enter, okay, if I enter, yeah, now tell me, if I in the place of student number, okay, I am entering my hall ticket number is, let's say, A123. Now what will happen? Any guess? Just take a guess. Let's see what will happen.
It will not allow, right? It will give an error
Why?
because it's a combination of alphanumeric and we are
Correct.
declaring it as integer.
Correct. So no, yeah. So not exactly declaring, but we are trying to convert.
Yeah, we are trying to.
So yes, so it's giving an error, invalid literal. So you cannot convert a string, which is not integer, as to int. So now if I give over here 10.2, what happens?
Yeah, it will not allow because again it's not an integer, it's float.
Oh, can't we convert float to integer?
Yeah, we can convert. Okay, it will round up to 10 then. Okay, invalid integer with base 10.
So is it correct, Meghana, Sirisha? Can we convert integer to float? We can convert to integer. So if we have some, let's say, if we have float 5, you will give 5.0. Right? If you have int of 5.2, you will have 5. Okay. But why it is not allowing here, Nikhila?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because the difference here is
Yeah.
you can directly convert a float to integer. Okay. But we
Okay,
cannot convert that float which is in the shape of string. Okay. So
okay,
if the float, if the string is having float, that you cannot convert to integer. But if it is direct float, okay, it will simply round up to the, it will take only the integer, round up to the integer. Okay. But if the float
oh,
is in the string, it will not allow. Clear?
yeah, yeah,
And we'll see with float. So if you're having float, obviously float of 5.2 is 5.2, and float of 5.0, sorry, a integer, if I give to float, it will then also it will give as 5.0. If I give a string the integer, then also it works. And with float 5.3 also it works. Okay, for float everything works. In the integer, whatever you have it works. But coming to integer, only exception is when you are passing some value in the form of string, that value should be integer to get converted. Okay, if it is in float, it is not able to convert. Okay.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fine. So now we understood a new thing. So one is, that is how you can give to integer input. Okay, name, Okay, and float, and float works. So here you can give any value. But now the last step. So now we are giving good number. So 10 student name is some name. Okay, and float value we are giving as 14.2. In the place of boolean, I'll give true t. What happens?
I I never tried, but I think it will accept. No. Okay.
It,
Because it is already defined, predefined as the way. For the Boolean, it is fully defined, right? Truly or true or false. So I think it will not accept. Okay, it will accept. Okay.
okay, but we'll see what if we give some number. Okay, so input number is 2 and input is some L and float is some 2.3. In the boolean, if I give you, okay, if I give you some 5, 5, it is true. Now,
Okay, the 1 and 0 concept.
correct, exactly.
Okay.
So if you see the 8.2, and now if I give 0,
0.
0, it is still
Okay, in the string.
correct. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now I think you're getting. So if I give 8, if I give you, and if the in the float, if I give some 6.2, let's say. Now here, if I, yeah, I will give false. Okay, boolean of false is what?
False.
Right. So if I give enter, it's taking true.
Because it's still in the string, right?
Correct. Perfect. So are you following, Sirisha, Meghna? Why you are getting, even though we are giving false, why we are getting true? Because boolean of false should be false, right?
Yes, but it is string now, sir.
Now can you tell me, like, how can I get false over here? Because uh, like, see, boolean of 0 should be false. Okay, boolean of false should be false. So to get false here, so what I should give over here? How can I get false over there?
Um, maybe we have to leave it blank, like
Uh,
no input.
like
Will,
without input?
yeah.
Okay, well, fine. I mean, so let's think. So if I don't give input, so how we can take the input from the user? We want the user to enter, right? Whether his marital status we want to know. So our requirement is he will enter something based
In the
upon
double
that.
quotes.
Okay. Yeah, Meghna, tell me in double quotes.
Once you pass the true value in the double quotes.
Okay. See, this is input is there. This is asking me a question. And if I enter anything, I'm getting what that is being considered as string. And boolean of any string is true. That's the reason we are getting true here. Okay. Let's understand that first. When we are doing this enter input, so even though we are saying true or false, whatever you input in this here, okay, that will be considered as a string. And when you're entering something, that means it is a non-empty string, some value you are giving, right? So that will be considered as a non-empty string, and bool of any non-empty string is true. If you remember the boolean class, okay, we discussed, right? So in which scenarios it will be zero. Okay, so now even if you give true, that will be true. Even if you give false, that will be false, right? And but I think, let's say, okay, let's say if I do this way, will it work? Int of I'll ask to enter 0 or 1. Will this work?
Yeah, it will work. But in the previous one also, if we are not giving int in front, I'm saying like
Mm-hmm.
if we give space and give enter, that is also an input, right? So in that case, what happens? Will it take it as false?
Correct, correct, correct. So let me come to that. So we are saying this way, right? So if I have it, instead of giving input, so if I just ask true or let's say some true or false, okay, and what's the error?
Module button.
Yeah. So you're saying non-empty, sorry, empty string.
Yeah,
So if I just enter, okay, and if I print this, you got false, right? Because it's
yeah,
empty string. Empty string is false. So bool will be, yeah. Now bool will be false. In which cases, if it is 0 for integer, 0.0 for float, you remember, and if it is the false without quotes, okay, the keyboard false, or if it is empty string, correct. In all these scenarios, bool will be false. Agree?
yeah,
Yeah. So now you can do it in both ways. So you can say, but we should prompt, right? So the user should understand.
yeah. This is not user friendly. Yes.
Yeah. So you'll get the answer, but yeah, he should understand that he should not enter something, right? So or else you can do enter the student number 0 or 1, like you can just say 0 is single and 1 for married, and then you can enter some number, some name, some score. Now if I enter 0, I got false. Okay, because when I enter 0, that 0 will be converted into int. Now it will be actual 0. It's not string 0, it's int 0. And int of bool of 0 is false. And similarly, if I give some more number, some name and some score, and here if I give 1, it will be true. Okay. Yeah. Let me know, like if you didn't understand this, that's fine. We can go over this again. But is this clear, guys? Are you able to understand?
Yeah, it's clear. Santosh.
Yeah. Meghana, Sarisha, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after that, let's yeah. So this is, I think, one way you can access values. And yeah, so by this we can understand like what type of typecasting you need to do, because here he will not enter when you're asking for a material status, he will not enter any text, he will not enter any number, right? So but the answer should be either true or false, because whatever here he's entering is one thing, but finally on the website, for example, you are showing this value, okay, this value, the true or false is the main thing. Because let's say you are just displaying his profile, right? So true, or it should be displayed as true or false, so that is important. So how you will get it as true or false? For that you just need to do some background and like ask him to enter in a particular way, and then you can import. So here in this one step you are doing three things. You are taking the input, typecasting it as int, and that you are again typecasting it as bool. Okay, so that way you can do this. Okay, after this, right? So after this, you have something called as a function called as eval. Okay, eval is a function in Python Okay, eval is a function in Python. Okay, so which is helpful. Okay, which is helpful to do some direct calculations. Okay, for example, if you see eval of, okay, so eval function will take that particular string, okay, and it will try to evaluate that expression, okay, provided that we are having the integer. So you don't need to again, that means you can directly, for example, let's say you are having a eval, okay, and in input you can ask enter any expression. Okay, so you are entering some expression and you are putting it in some eval function. Okay, so now if I ask for, let's enter some 50 plus 6 into 8 divided by 7. Okay, so that will be that in this, even though that is string, right, but when we are putting it into eval, so whatever the value you are having here, that will be considered as a number, and eval will do the evaluation. Okay, and it will give you the value. Okay, so you don't need to again separately do that, right? So eval is small function, right, so which will help you to uh, you know evaluate any kind of expression, I would say. Okay, so that's a small function. I think it's good to know. And after that, right, so after that actually you are having, we have uh we have something called as print statements, right? So when we are having print statements, right, so let's see if you have some time. Let me check with these guys. If you do, we have 5 to 10 minutes, Meghana, Sirisha?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right? Okay, right. So we'll just cover a small concept called print statement, how you can use that, and we will conclude for today. Okay. See, print statement, even though it's very looks like it's very simple thing, because you can print anything you want, right? So see, let's see a few examples quickly, and you'll understand like what all you can do with the print statement, right? So let's start. So for example, let's say you are printing a data, okay, some data. You'll print data, right? Now if I say print 5 times data, okay, so it is going to print 5 data, okay, because string multiplication is possible, correct? Now if I say 5 plus data, answer please. Correct, error, you cannot add it. Okay, now if I say print artificial plus data, what I'll get, error or answer?
Artificial data.
Artificial data.
Okay, yeah. Now artificial into data,
Maybe error.
error. Okay, cool. So these are few things, but now if you see, as I said, you can also, the comma plays important role. Okay, so when you say uh, okay, data, and if you can, whatever you put in the codes, that will be printed, and here you can give a comma and you can write session. Okay, so it will print data session, but you can also use some variables like how we were using it here. Okay, that we will see. Now in Python, right, in Python you have a shortcut. So instead of doing this, see, instead of doing a equal to 10, b equal to 20, and c equal to 30, okay, you can simply do a comma b comma c equal to 10 comma 20 comma 30. Okay, So you can do this. So I'll comment this. Okay, so it's like you can declare multiple variables. Okay, but how many variables values you are declaring, so it should have corresponding variable for each one of them. A, and it will assign in this order. So now A is 10, B is 20, 3 is 30. Okay, you can do it in one line. So now if I print A comma B comma C, you get 10, 20, 30. Okay, and in Python, right, so when you are printing, yeah, so when you're printing something, now we will see one small important thing. So I said, wait, so here what I'm doing, so I said print the values are, and I will give a comma. Now A comma B comma C. So it's printing the values are 10, 20, 30. Why? Whatever we are putting in quotes, it should print as it is. It is printing. After that, the string is done. Whatever your printing is done. So that's why you need to put a comma. And now you need to print this value. So that's why you are giving us A comma B comma C. Okay, that's how you are getting the values. Fine. But now here there's an important small important thing over here. So the way how you are printing A comma B comma C, okay, when you are getting 10, 20, 30, instead of the actual format, okay, for print is, it will have something called a separator. Okay, so when you do it, it is separator, separator equal to, you can give anything over here. So what does that mean? See, let's see. So it's a small thing, but it's important and interesting things. Okay, let's focus. So we have a separator over here. So if you use separator, you can give anything. For example, I'm giving comma simply. Now see, when I'm printing ABC, it is printing 10, 20, 30. But when I'm printing A comma B comma C with a separator as comma, it will print 10 comma 20 comma 30. Okay, by default we don't give the separator. That means by default it will be space. That's why you are getting a space as here. So 10 space 20 space 30. That means what? There will be always separator whether you give or not. If you don't give, if you don't mention, it will by default take space, and it will print space for every comma. So wherever you are like printing different variables, right, so it will insert a comma by default. But if you don't want that, sorry, space by default space. But if you don't want that space and you want deliberately give some value over here, you can give any value. Okay, so as you can see, I am printing the same values, but the separator should be comma. Okay, it is giving comma. In this place, you can give anything. So I want the separator should be hash. You give hash. Okay, getting separator should be AI. We print AI. Okay, so you can right, create like interesting patterns over here with this small function, right? So you can print anything. So you can print what? So give anything. So that is a separator. Okay, and if you give something, anything will be the separator. If you don't give anything, see, if you don't give, see, now I'm giving empty string. It's not space, empty string. That's why it did not give space also. Okay, so if I don't give this, see, if I don't give this, by default that will be considered as space. But when I'm removing that space also, and it's an empty string. Okay, nothing is there. So you don't separate at all. So that's why it is attaching each number with itself. Getting easy? Yes, following? Not following?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So quickly we'll see one more example. So just like how you have the uh what I say, the separator, we also have something called as end. Okay. For example, let's say I am printing okay, first session, then This is second session. This is third session. Okay, I'm printing this. That's fine. But if you think when I'm printing this, if you just try to think, so first it is printing first session. Okay, it is printing first session. After that, immediately it's going to next line and printing. After that, it's going to next line and printing. Okay, but if you don't want to do that, we have the actual syntax is just like we have separator between different variables. We also have something called as end. Give comma and give end. End you can give. Okay, end you can give it as, for example, if I want to give just a space. Okay, now if you see after first session, it is not going to next line. Why it did go to next line? Because by default the end will be /n. Okay, you remember escape character /n, that means new line. Okay, so by default just like how the separator value will be space. Okay, by default the separator value of end will be /n. That means whenever you print something, immediately the control will go to next line. Okay, that's the reason when you see here, it is printing first line going to next line, printing second session going to next line, third session. But if you want to change it, you can simply add the end and you can give any value over here. Okay, so now if I give this way, so what it will do, see it is printing first session, but it's not going to next line because the end is not /n. The end is just a space. So that's why you are having a space over here. So okay, so if you just remove this, okay, that's what you are getting. Now if I set t, so let's see if t works. Yeah, t is working. So the /t is what? Tab, right? The escape character tab, so it will give a tab space. So by default it will be /n. Okay, that means go to next line. But now if I give you /t, it will, after printing this, it will at the end, it will take a tab space. It is taking a tab space. By default it will be /n, that's why it will go to next line, but now just tab space. After that, print second session, printing second session, and after that just give tab space. You can also do combination, so I will do /n over here. So simple. After first session tab space, after first session tab space, but after second session go to next line. Okay, that's why after printing second session it is going to next line. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? Okay, so I think we are good. So there are like just 3-4 points that are remaining in print statement. So I think we can take it in tomorrow's class. And after that, in tomorrow class, we are going to start loops. Okay, which is called as flow control, where we'll be seeing different types of loops like if loop, if else, for loop, while loop, break, continue. So which are like fundamentals of any programming language. And like believe me, like whatever you are going to write the code, at least it will cover 60% of the code will be loops. Okay, so loops concept, and in that they're like some extremely important loops, like for example for loop. So whole Python is like combination of for loops. Okay, and we have different if loops, if else loops, which we are going to see. Okay, so once we are done with the loops, right? So once we're done with the loops, and we are going to see each data type, uh, different functions, like what are the functions of string, list, tuple, etc. We are going to see and understand each of them. Actually I thought of starting this and coming to this, but let's cover first loops, because we are using the concept of loops in each of this data type, right? So once you understand loops, then you can understand each of this data type in a better way. We can also see how you can use loops concept in, let's say, dictionary, tuple, every data type. Okay, so once we are done with loops and when we are done with the data types, right? So then I think we will have a very good foundation for the next concepts. Okay, so I think till today's class, there might be like these are all like general concepts, like small concepts, like what all we have studied, like small like print statements. Okay, they might be not that difficult, or it's like it might be very simple, but these will be used. Okay, you are going to use each one of these once you write code. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. I would say if there are no questions, we can meet tomorrow. Okay, thanks guys.